Well, you were saying the issue of what's going to happen in the next like 6 months. You said spring.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So it's the day after Joe Biden gave his winner takes all speech. He got his 279 electoral college votes, and so he gets to be president now. And I've been saying for a while, and others have been saying with about the same time, that it kind of doesn't matter who is at the top of the pile, the dog pile, because they're all sort of serving the same master behind the curtain. And that's not a cynical thing to say. That's actually fairly honest. That's an honest assessment that Joe Biden and Donald Trump and the only exception I might point to is Bernie Sanders. I think he's a fairly independent thinker, and he's angry too. And if you wonder why he's angry, it's because he's angry for the same reason a lot of the rest of the intellectuals are angry, because we know it really doesn't matter who makes it to the top of the dog pile. So
we're not changing anything really.
No. Well, corporate America doesn't want you to. Mm-hmm. So they own the system. They run the system the way they want to suit themselves. And, it serves a lot of people. Capitalism and consumerism has served a lot of people. I did well enough under that as an engineer, right? So I was part of that. I was engineering products for people to consume. So that's fine, right? I really don't have much I can say about that because I am still part of that system to some extent. So, but I know, even though I'm a member of that stratum of society, I am also an engineer and a scientist. So I can set aside my economic interest in that system, and I can say, in honesty, that it's going down. Not because I say it's going down, but because I've observed as a scientist, as a person who collects data, that it's going down. And it's going down for a lot of reasons. It went down during the pandemic. Pandemic is 1/100th the impact the climate change is going to have. And so before you started this video, and the impact of climate change will be 100 times worse than the impact of the pandemic, which is hard to imagine, but it's entirely likely. Plus, the pandemic, which may have a time to live of 2 years, maybe 3, if we look at other pandemics in the past, the climate change caused by global heating, the global heating part of that could last hundreds or thousands of years. The planet gets hot, and that lasts for 1,000 years. The climate change may actually continue to roll. We may go through many changes in the climate, but the global heating element that's driving all that to some new equilibrium, that heating component will last for 1,000 years. So we were talking, and I was saying it's okay to get wound up about social issues and issues of equality and resilient communities and trying to plan for the future.
Right.
But you've got until spring.
You said what? Yeah, go ahead.
You've got until spring to figure all that out. And that's me tongue in cheek saying you're done. Okay, you're done. Because you're not going to figure anything out by spring. Now you might find some people, you might circle your wagons, you might put some food in your basement, you might finish working on your solar installation. You might do some things to batten down the hatches, right, by spring. You might build a room to house somebody. You might do something by spring to batten down the hatches. But what happens by spring is that they're going to lift the currently established moratoria on rent, evictions, and mortgage foreclosures sometime in the next couple of months. Now, they may not. They may say, this pandemic, this is terrible. Let's go with this. But at some point, they're going to lift the moratoria. I don't see how they go into summer with these rent moratoria and eviction moratoria and foreclosure moratoria, because there are people with money, landlords and banks and everything else, that are losing money, hemorrhaging money right now because they don't have any income. So I don't see how they continue this farce that people just don't have to pay their bills.
Well, you don't have to call it a farce.
Okay, no, it is.
It's an unusual phenomenon.
Because in a capitalist system, you have to pay your bills. I'm not approving that message.
No, okay,
I'm just stating that's what it is.
Capitalist system, yeah.
And you can't have a capitalist system with all this money on loan and all of this leverage and have people not paying their bills.
Right.
That just doesn't work. That's a pipe dream.
Right.
Now, if you don't like capitalism, then you're saying, great, capitalism will collapse. But if you're embedded in capitalism, which I am, and you are, and all these people are, we're embedded in this system. We have to watch carefully what happens to it. Not that I'm going to lift a finger to stop it from imploding, but I have to know that it's imploding and watch that process carefully.
Right.
So my prediction, for what it's worth, is that by spring, they will lift the moratorium on rent, evictions, and mortgage foreclosures, maybe one before the other. They will not have significant UBI. They won't do that because that sounds like communism. It's not, but that's what they'll paint it. You watch what happens. They're going to paint it as communism, socialism. They're not going to give people universal basic income, but they are going to make them pay their bills. And most of these people have now tens of thousands of dollars in arrears. So if they're going to try and save people from these evictions and these foreclosures, they're going to have to send them not just a bailout package for this month, but for the past 6 to 8 months in arrears to help them pay their back mortgage. And they're not going to do that. It's laughable that capitalism would do that. They're not going to. Now, what does that mean? That means that when these moratoria are lifted, you're going to have a staggering wave of evictions and foreclosures. And if you allow that, there'll be some fighting and some lawsuits and some injunctions and some stays of whatever, then, it doesn't happen all at once or right away, but there's this tsunami wave that slowly builds. And then all of a sudden, it just crashes on you. And you end up, my prediction would be, we end up right here in San Jose with 20,000 families, not people, families, hitting the streets, entering the homeless camps, all within like 3 months. And families means it's not like we've known for many years of the alcoholic, drug-addicted meth head living down on the river by himself with his friends. And when someone gets a disability check, they all go out and buy meth and alcohol, right? That's what you think of as the homeless. You're going to have families. You're going to have children. You're going to have parents that used to have jobs.
Well, should we stop our video?
No. Go ahead and answer the phone.
Hi, Soph. How are you? Do you want me to turn that off?
No, let it go.
Okay.
How long have you been on the phone?
I was just. No, that's fine. We were just talking on our YouTube channel. How are you?
Good.
Did you go out and celebrate yesterday, Joe Biden?
I did not go out, but I definitely celebrated.
Oh, you and Aoife celebrated by yourselves?
And yeah, like on the couch,
With the rest of America, but you did it virtually. I'm so proud of you. That's good. That was good. I wasn't too happy to see all the people gathered together too much, and I kept saying, Joe, put on your mask, Joe. And finally, he got it at the end. He put his mask back on.
Right. He did. Everyone who's been out have all been wearing masks.
Oh, you mean over there in Delaware?
No, just like across the earth. Anyone who's been outside celebrating Biden understands that there's a pandemic.
Okay, good. All right, good. Good. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So, all right, good.
Yeah, congrats to us.
Yeah.
The fight is over. Far
Right.
from it.
Right.
So we are hopefully moving out of the 1950s.
Moving out of the 1950s.
Whatever garbage bullshit we were located.